what we do. Now to the first conversation on Global Morning today, as we talk about something very important. What we want to talk about today is the fact that some persons are saying APC doesn't have a position. Some people are so worried. Some Nigerians are worried about the fact that there is fight in the different political parties that would have given the ruling party a run for their money, standing as opposition. But right now, some persons are saying, with the kind of reflection and the visitation and the discussions that we are having in the polity right now, it is glaring that the opposition is beginning to take shape. Today we want to look at opposition politics, political rivals, scheme ahead of 2027, and a political analyst and of course a development expert will be joining us on the conversation today. Dr. Aliu Ilyas is our guest this morning, and it's good to have you join us on the conversation this morning, Doctor.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, we want to talk about opposition politics. You know, a lot have been happening. At a point, Nigerians were saying, well, we don't have opposition party, and a lot of people were confused about what will happen in 2027. But with the recent development, some persons are the defection of El-Rufai to SDP and the meetings that they've been having with Atiku, Peter Obi, and the rest. There have been a lot of meetings going on. Some persons are saying it's like the oppositions are waking up right now ahead of 2027. What's your school of thoughts?
Right. For me, I think it's quite worrisome for us not to have a robust opposition. I want to say robust opposition can actually challenge the present government. You agree with me that it's quite a wrong process. When you have a weak opposition, if APC were weak, they would have taken over from PDP. And it also has to do with the style of the national, the INEC, I should say. You know, sometimes you have 18 political parties as it were now, and it's only 4 or 5 that's actually active. Look at America, they do have other political parties, but you could see that it's Democrat and Republican, and it's always a tussle for them. So I think we should start the politics of ideology, not only political parties. Now, going to the present coming together of some political party, I can tell you, I don't know if I've made mention of it on this beautiful media platform. I said if oppositions like Atiku, El-Rufai join them now, Peter Obi and Kwankwaso come together, they will give APC a run for their money. And you agree with me that now that those 3 people are coming together, because we have not seen the hands of Kwankwaso so far. However, I think it's a good one, and before you can really fight and fight hard, you must come together 2 years before the election. If you don't come together 2 years before the election, you will find it difficult to actually challenge the opposition. And I can tell you, with this present APC, they are so strong that they are in every political party and they are likely to weaken them. You have seen a lot of allegations from PDP that is APC that is actually weakening them. And it's crystal clear that you have people like Nyesom Wike, who is neither in APC fully nor in PDP fully. So such people are actually people that can give opposition problem, and that is the state of things. I think it's a good one if you have a robust opposition. But the question is that, would they agree for themselves? Would the serious contestants agree not to contest in this time around? That is the question that is begging for an answer.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Aliu. I want to ask a question. What do you think are the key factors that have led to this decision to return to the drawing board?
Well, I think it's a good one. Without you returning to the drawing board, it's difficult to actually challenge opposition. Remember that once you're an incumbents have a lot of power. They have the political power, they have financial power, they have appointment power. So if you don't have a robust opposition, it will be pretty difficult. And you know that since we returned to the Fourth Republic, we have only seen situation where APC take over from PDP, who will now take over from APC. That is the question that is begging for an answer. We were thinking, as an economist, I was thinking it would be economic that will speak. But Nigeria, have we arrived up to that level that we now say because of our economic factor, we want to take out a particular political party? I'm not sure we have got to that level because our political party or our political system has not gone to that level that we have to check our purchasing power, check our state of our health. But in here, we look at religion and we look at ethnic issues, and that's why it's pretty difficult. So for me, I think from the look of things, it's a tug of war for any opposition coming together. One, they must have consensus that they will come together. Two, they must have consensus of candidates. Three, they must have consensus of who hold what before they can actually come together. Remember, APC actually came together. They came together from different oppositions. Okay. We have CPC, we have AD, we have AMPP, among other political parties. So there must be that intention to actually let go of people's position to form a different alliance.
All right, now let's look at how would this shift, in strategy impact the opposition party's chances of winning the next election?
Right. Well, the shift is that as opposition rather, they'll be praying for a bad performance of APC. You recall the governor of Bauchi said APC is already campaigning for opposition already, and he said that on the fact that they are giving bad economic policies, people are suffering. That is a campaign on its own. So it depends on what they want to capitalize on, but the best to capitalize on is on the state of economy. If you look at advanced politics, you see them usually having an ideology. Where we look at Trump, for instance, before Trump even arrived, Trump was telling different stories. One, he was talking about creating American first. Two, he was saying that there is only two gender. Three, he was talking about trade war. And you see when he even entered, he started implementing it. But can we actually go to that ideology in Nigeria for now, where we have politics of religion and politics of ethnicity?
I want to deviate a little bit. Let us talk a bit about El-Rufai and this Lamido saga. El-Rufai going to SDP, and of course, he has always been an APC member. Now, looking at it critically, what do you think this is all about, and where do you think this will lead to at the long run? Because according to Lamido, APC has always been the platform that actually made him minister of the Federal Capital Territory and, of course, governor of Kaduna State. And now this shift, and he's saying that, in his own words, the party that he's coming out from is dead. What do you make about all of this?
Right. Well, the fact remains that it's a political game, and they all have to look at where actually benefit them. They must have to put in their calculation ahead. But for El-Rufai, for me, APC threw away a necessary enemy. That's what I think about El-Rufai. And why do I see the necessary enemy? He's a formidable person, as an individual that can fight, as an individual that actually decided to say presidency must shift to the south. We also see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu going to him in his states and he canvassed for them. So now that he's out of it, they did not consider him very well. He's going out, and I can tell you, they should not undermine his capacity. He's a researcher, and he has a lot of things he can even say to convince people. Now, for Lamido, Lamido have always found his way to power, always, since he's in PDP. And truly, PDP is becoming weaker day by day. You see today trouble. In fact, the current one is trouble of secretary. The second one is their leadership is having issues. Up to now, they still have acting chairman. They've not zoned it to the necessary, is it not central that's supposed to have it? So a lot of issue. So for me, PDP actually have their own issue. But for me, I still think PDP have much more structure to fight more compared to other political parties. But we can also say that if a party like APC come together and actually fight very, very hard. So for me, I think they have their strategic reason for moving. And I will agree with them. It's a good move for them because every move, you could see that even the political, what's his name, APC are actually feeling it and they are responding to him every now and then.
Okay, now I want to put you on the spot. I hope you don't mind. Now, for everybody coming from APC, that political, it was the ruling party at a point. It is the ruling party, the APC, and now going to SDP. Do you think is the right choice at this time? I'm just going to put you on the spot. Your own opinion, from where he's coming from, going to SDP now.
I think it's the right choice for everybody because it will be more heard in that position. And you know, politics is about your voice. Sometimes it's not even about you winning. And I can assure you, because Erufai moved to SDP, next coming election, SDP may have a governor, may have a state that they will win. That's what you should look at. You know, his state, he has structure in his state, and you know that he had the fallout with his present governor. And I can tell you that because he emerged, we may also have people winning senatorial seats, winning other seats. So for me, it gives Erufai more voice and it will become automatic leader in that political party. So sometimes for you to have the leadership and have the voice. So for me, it's not a bad move at all.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc. Talking about Erufai now. You know what happened? Let me take you back memory lane a little bit to 2023. When Peter Obi joined the Labour Party. A lot of people never knew about the Labour Party. The same thing is happening now. A big gun from the APC is the campaign to SDP. Do you foresee the kind of popularity LP had in 2023 for SDP in 2027, having the likes of Erufai in SDP?
Right. What I would say is that if you look at the trajectory of the president candidate of Labour Party, person of Peter Obi, I can tell you, Peter Obi brings about the tsunami. It's not about Labour Party. Labour Party has been there from time, but they will not bite until Peter Obi came around and put his effort. So I can see another kind of thing to happen if the same Peter Obi emerged the presidential candidate of SDP, and he has the like of Kwankwaso or even Erufai as vice president. It becomes a serious issue. So they can actually move like that. Remember, that's how President Buhari also had his own tsunami when he became a APC presidential candidate. So we don't undermine that. And depends on the pulse of Nigeria. If they can actually tell us what we actually want to hear, I think people can actually follow them. Remember, even in Lagos, Rose Bible actually give Sanwo-Olu serious challenges. So I think it's possible. It depends on how they start on time and how what they are saying is resonating with Nigerians.
Continue, ma.
All right, with all of this said now with Erufai and the popularity you said that it might bring, now looking at all of this critically, now what are the expectations in all of this when it comes to 2027 election for the opposition's party with this new strategy? And of course, how do you think it will be measured looking at all of this that are playing out at the moment?
Well, I think with coming together of them is a blessing to Nigerians because it will make APC to think more and to want to serve Nigeria as is expected. You know, when you have a robust opposition, it makes the ruling party to be wary that if you do this is what happened. And what I want the opposition party to do is to look at all the policy of APC ongoing and give alternatives. When you give alternatives to what is going on, Nigerians will check, okay, this alternative, are they good one? Are they what we can actually bank on? And if that actually work, it's a good. So I want them to bring a formidable alternative, and Nigerian will to their core.
Okay. Now, what are the potential consequences, when coming together and of this decision for the current political landscape, if there are any?
Yes, there is consequence, because up to now, people that come from CPC are still thinking we have been under given opportunity. They are giving them less opportunity. You recall that under APC, you see the way Bukola Saraki find his way to become Senate president, because people that come from because they say people that come from PDP are not well given opportunity. It's still happening now. You can see now that Tinubu is in power, people that come from AD, they're actually enjoying more, while people are from CPC are also complaining. So if they also have an opposition party, they also have their own consequences, and the consequence is that they must make sure that they consider every person.
Welcome back from that little break. But then we are talking about oppositions here. As it is right now, remember the PDP is also having their own problem. Is there any possibility of maybe PDP and Labour Party joining SDP? Before now it was the speculation was PDP, Labour Party, and NNPP, the Kwankwaso Party, but now SDP is coming in. Do you see the possibility of these four parties coming together? And if they do, how will it be? Because there is always going to be a problem of who to field. There are some people speculating that the likes of Atiku should be kingmakers at this point and not wanting to be kings themselves. Don't you think that all these disparities may result to some form of problems if there is anything like coalition?
At this point in time, I think former Vice President of Nigeria, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, at this point in time should become the kingmakers. All his mates went and formed their own party, and we have seen what has happened. If you look at Kwankwaso, look at all of them have gone to other parties to really make meaning. So, for me, I think Atiku should actually allow others. But my problem here is PDP. I don't think PDP will allow those oppositions. PDP can accommodate opposition, but I don't think PDP can go out to join opposition. So that's the major thing I'm seeing now. So it may lead to change of name, but PDP can absorb them. Presently, PDP have a lot of governors, so you can't tell PDP.
Welcome back from that break. It is still Global Television, and of course on Global Mornings today, we've had so much going down. So the politics is so hot right now as we speak, and as a matter of fact, you can't say, beginning from River State to other parts of the country, is so much happening. The interference of the judiciary in electoral matters has been it's a thing of worry because some Nigerians are saying when will the people start getting the dividends of democracy when they don't even get into office on time, probably because the case is in court, or maybe a court verdict judgment that is not going down with the people.
How would they communicate
and this brings unrest.
Everyone has their own
governance. Today we want to look at judicial intervention and its implication for effective governance. Judicial intervention. Sometimes the judiciary will have no choice than to intervene, especially when matters get to their table. They'll follow it logically, following the constitution to make sure they get things right. And that has affected governance in different ways. Joining me on the conversation today is a legal practitioner and, of course, a human rights activist. He also through public. I have Barrister Alex Obo right here this morning. It's good to have you join us on the conversation this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here, especially an issue.
Yes, because it's becoming worrisome. Nigerians keep asking questions every day because after 2023 election, I'm still particular about the Labour Party because the judiciary has played more roles in bringing people into public office, Bauchi State, especially politicians, than the electorates themselves. Actually, I'm just wondering which state in Nigeria that we've not had the issue of taking an electoral matter to court, either from the local government, even from the councillors, down to the presidency. So as it is right now, judicial intervention and its implication for effective governance. Let's begin from the governor intervention of Bauchi State. The judiciary in electoral matters. What's your take about it? He comes to
the judiciary, first of all, is very important to the society.
So to start from PDP because if you look at Obi was in PDP before.
Interplay of human relationships,
experience
conflicts,
and
crises, and so on and so forth.
Two of them in one
and
part.
There's always need for a place where these things should be looked into dispassionately
to PDP.
And that's the role that the judiciary plays.
And PDP
that's the role that the office and the position the judiciary occupies.
That should be
the rank of leadership in the society. And as long as human beings have misunderstandings, the judiciary will have a job to do.
For me,
But our worry,
our time is fast spent, but then looking at it right now, campaign for 2027 has started in some parts of the country.
For
whether directly or indirectly. Don't you see? Because justice right now, a lot of Nigerians are saying
it's also a court of public opinion.
All right, we want more attention.
It's always
preparation for 2027 as the case may be.
That
one of the things that Nigerians are so particular about
the society.
That's
why in Nigeria you find out that there have never been any presidential election.
Then Erufai's statement to say, well, becoming a minister in Nigeria under the Tinubu administration,
that is basically on issue of public opinion.
That statement
you don't want to overturn the apple cart said and cause a crisis and all.
Do you see that as a political statement?
Nobody can say that all presidential elections are in order. No. They are not.
I think over time,
but the speaker has been careful to avoid going to thunder
because of those things have been mentioned
or the issues of law as well.
If you look at
now, but there are other aspects. And I want to draw our attention to what happened in the 80s from the judgment coming from the Supreme Court. To compare it with what is going on now, it's good to make that comparative analysis. In the 80s and even during the military, the Supreme Court was indeed a strong force to reckon with for the good of this country. We saw judicial interventions that put the excesses of the executive and the dictatorship of the military to check. We can remember the case of Ojukwu and Lagos State.
Before I let you go, is Erufai going to be missed in APC?
Bringing up the issue
because
of
the presidency has said
that the executive should not be allowed to do things anyhow. They should follow what procedures, unlike what they did in throwing Ojukwu to the street.
I think unless
he was the rightful owner and occupier of what he had. The Supreme Court came to the rescue, and that helped to douse tension over the years. That helped to solve a lot of things. There are so many.
So
the Supreme Court also, there are this case of
accident. I think
especially in the southeast and some other parts of this country, where by custom women are now allowed to use property. But in UK case, the Supreme Court insisted a female is a child and has rights in the Constitution to own property. That has solved a lot.
Right. Many thanks for joining us on the conversation this morning. Our time is up. Thank you very much, Dr. Ali Elias, for joining us on this conversation.
These are things that heal the society. You know, we know because of our nature of Rivers State.
This is the science of the first
that came to rescue.
Well, this is politics we're talking about here.
And just
this deflection will keep happening.
Certain recent decisions.
Expect many more.
Some of these.
Many more. I like when you say that because a lot of individuals, politicians want to prove and make their point well known. So of course, like you said, let us expect many more. In fact, let's not be surprised. Now
we can't allow the society to just degenerate. To the extent that some people now are saying,
because of course you know Peter Obi, that particular party is very popular.
Yeah, he is.
So with Peter Obi,
because certain decisions people are taking.
I want to know which party. I'm curious.
They might want to go back to PDP. He left PDP. And you know, there was a first rule that says you can't return to any party you left. You may want to return to PDP to join force together. They will give him the ticket, probably. But we're just speculating. He has not said he's going to leave. Because we're talking about the misunderstanding and the unsettlement of in the Labour Party. Anything is possible. And this is El-Rufai leaving APC. Who is going to be the next person to leave?
Well, that's a question mark. We just have to.
That's a question right now. Budget needs to be resubmitted based on the judgment from the Supreme Court. But then there are some people who are disgruntled. There are some people who are not satisfied. I'm actually bringing this in now because you talked about the fact that the Supreme Court is a court of public opinion.
Yes.
Now, there have been a lot going on in Rivers State after that judgment. The youths are rising. There is a lot of triggers, a lot of threats coming from the youths. If this is not done, this will be done. And there was a time that they even advised people who are not from Rivers State to vacate Rivers State and all of that. What can you say about what is happening in Rivers State in connection with the Supreme Court judgment? As a legal practitioner now.
Yes. You know, it is even the case of that Rivers that made those who are saying that we need a court higher than Supreme Court to be put in place in this country. It's even the case of that Rivers with some others. Like what happened in the case of what was the man, the former deputy speaker of the Federal House of Reps in Imo State, what threw her out and brought Uzodinma in. You know, that is a decision that this country will keep suffering the damaging effect of that kind of judgment of the Supreme Court, you know. And then in this case of Rivers State, like I compared, in the 80s and so on, decisions of the Supreme Court had balancing effect in the years gone by. Balancing effect, dousing tensions. Unlike now, because what you are noticing now is a decision that suggests that the Supreme Court, like some people say, is conquered by the executive. And those who are close to power can manipulate things. Some decisions currently go towards that. And it's most unhealthy. It's most unhealthy. The Supreme Court should be impartial, it should be neutral, it should be corrective, and should be able to create stability, serious stability in the system. So these are the things that this experience of Rivers State is bringing up. You know, we need radical reorientation in what happens in the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court, radical reorientation. We need that. The River State crisis, we don't know how it will end. We don't know how it will end. But it is most unfortunate, let me say. You see, when this Wike was going on River State, he chased Amaechi out of that state. His predecessor. He chased him out, and people even supported Wike, were talking of abuses that Amaechi did and all that. But when he finished his 8 years tenure, Wike is now doing what is unprintable, unheard of. You have finished your 8 years tenure. The next governor, you will not allow him to breathe, whereas your eye could not sit on your predecessor when you were governor, and you're a minister of the Federal Republic, and you want to be governor of your state all at the same time. It's more shameful. The future will not be kind with him at all. I'm talking about Nyesom Wike.
But as it is right now, the judgment is, so far it's not all about Nyesom Wike right now. The judgment is coming from the Supreme Court. Everything that is happening there now, even though in a recent broadcast he has made some statements, he has said some things even on the papers. He has said some things about Fubara and all of that. But as it is right now, I think we are more concerned about the people and not even the individual, as the case may be, because the people need good governance. So what do you think is proper? I think there is another date set for the submission of the budget right now, and the first one, we don't know what happened. A lot of drama ensue. Fubara is trying to tread a path right now. All right. As at yesterday, not just yesterday, I saw a video where Asari was making some statements directly to the Minister of FCT.
Yeah.
A lot of people are looking at the Minister of FCT, but this judgment is coming from the court right now. So let's forget about the Minister of FCT now and talk about what needs to be done to get these things, this mistake corrected, because of the people, because of governance, because of the dividends of democracy.
Yeah, why people are talking about the Minister of FCT is the author and finisher of the crisis in River State now, including the Supreme Court issue. He's the author, he's the finisher. That is that. There's nothing, you can't compromise it. Wike is the author and finisher of River State crisis, including what happened at the Supreme Court. He's the author and finisher. But be that as it may, the way the elders in River State have been standing with the governor, President Governor Fubara, and the youths, they need to stand strong and firm, because it's the soul of River State that is at stake. It's the soul of River State, not the selfishness and greed, unbridled greed of an individual. The soul of River State that will outlive Wike and every other person. So the elders, the youth should stand firm and fight for the soul of the state. Yes. You see, those who generated this conflict must pay dearly for it. That is the truth. There will definitely be crisis in River State, but the dimension is what we are praying should be curtailed, because that judgment has thrown Rivers into an unbridled confusion.
We heard there was a protest by some persons a few days ago.
There was, and there'll be more of that will still come. But the bottom line of it is that as the elders have been standing behind their present governor, the youths should do the same and stand strictly firm to that. Once that is done, there are many ways they can checkmate the excesses of these hawks on issues of power and issues of public patrimony of River State. The people own the state, not an individual, and is this the time that the owners of the state should rise up? this is the time, more than any other. This is the time. And that's the best way you can rescue such a situation. You see, individuals should not be allowed to have their way again in this country. Like, there's always this request, we need strong institutions, not strong individuals. Yes, countries where people are running to, including all the politicians, they run to countries where there are strong institutions. All of them are going there. Medical tourism, for their holiday, for their studies, their family, everything. Countries where there are strong institutions. But they come here and insist on imposing on us strong individuals who their selfish greed will destroy the whole society. It should not be allowed to hold sway.
All right, it should not be allowed to hold sway because it's all about the people. We're going on a quick break. When we return from this break, we'll look at interventions of the judiciary in matters of governance and its impact, not in Rivers State this time, but in other parts of Nigeria. We are giving it a holistic approach, and that will be after this break. Welcome back from that break. Still the discussion on the way. Judicial interventions in the matter of governance. After 2023, the slogan, "You can go to court," came to stay. And we've had that severally. Now let's go to, look at it generally now. What would you have to say about taking electoral matters to court? Because we're practicing democracy, and democracy, they said, is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Because some Nigerians are feeling like the issue of going to court is making their power weak, because they feel, well, we've voted for who we want, but at the end of the day, the court decides who wins the election based on evidences. Does this have any impact on governance?
Matter of taking the electoral matters to court will still continue in the near future in Nigeria, because in politics, Nigerians are too manipulative. Vote buying, all right? Vote buying, manipulation of the electoral body, and so on and so forth. There's no fairness in the electoral system in Nigeria presently. There's no fairness. There's no fairness. From my knowledge, there's no fairness. And not to talk about the politicians that behave like mad horses. There's no fairness. And as long as this milieu of madness exists in electoral matters, cases will still go to court. But the court can wake up and help to stem the tide of how the country is drifting by calling a spade, by really standing by its oath of office, dispensing justice without fear of favor, without ill will, no matter whose oath is God. And when such is done, the society will see it. It is visible. Substantial justice is tangible. You can feel it. When there's error in judgment, you know it. So the judiciary can come to the rescue of the country. But for elections, Nigerians are too rugged and too rough in what they do. And because of that, cases will keep going to court. In fact, if you phase out the courts, the country will burn. It's just like with the deficiency of the Nigerian police. But you see, if you close down all police stations for one day, people will run out of this country. Issues will always arise, but there should be an unbiased umpire. People should run to be able to calm free downs The judiciary is very important because it's a standby measure where agreed people will go when tempers are calmed down to ventilate their views and seek proper justice. If there is no such thing, there's what we call pantry justice, where everybody will descend on anybody, whoever you are stronger than you descend on and kill. And that will be the worst. All right? So judiciary is extremely important. But Nigerian judiciary should develop the necessary nerves. I was reading a story about when Justice Udoma was a judge of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. His judgments were being used in Oxford, in Cambridge, to train lawyers because of the insightful nature, the balanced nature. They study his judgments so critically, and judges of those nature, like Oputa and all. But you can't boast of the ones we have here now with what is going on. That is the truth. Because then, Kaldesho, all those kind of people, they are human beings. And these are people that made up their mind that society must go well. We need that kind of orientation of people at the bench. There are people like that. There are people like that. But it appears that a good number now are on a side one we don't know how to describe. So there's no way, you can't keep judiciary away from electoral matters because the conduct of Nigerian towards the election is too rude, is too crude, is too awkward. All right? If Nigerians today start having regard for decency, you can vote with your phone at the comfort of your home. But if you try it here, they will not allow that your ballot to count. They will not record it. Look at what happens in the US, where people will vote ahead of time. They go to post offices and throw in their own. If you throw in any vote in the post office here in Nigeria, it will bounce. Yes, it will not be recorded. No, that's the truth. Presently, it will not be recorded. Vote at home. They will look at what happened in 2023. 25th February, where the presidential election held the same day, that of Senate, that of House of Reps held the same day, and this Senate and House of Reps were uploaded, and when it came to presidential, I thought it was glitch. It's a shame. So it's because of that our electoral body for now is not trustworthy. So cases must go to court. Politicians are not ready to comport themselves. Cases must go to court. When we get to such a time where we stop all this issue of stealing votes and all right, then cases in court will reduce. Because when you lose, you'll be confident that you try your best, but your best appear not to be good enough for the moment. You wait for the next. But when you know that you won and you are shortchanged with insult on it, instead of going to burn somebody's house or kill somebody, you have to go to court. So, but the court has to wake up. This is the time judiciary should indeed assert herself on what judiciary means in a democracy. This is the time.
All right. In all of this, do the public, the people who are being governed, do they have any role to play at all?
They have a role to play, only that the sad aspect is the level of gullibility among the governed. Because somebody comes to give you 5,000 naira, 10,000, and you tell me you value that amount to collect it and vote for the person. So after that, what else can you offer? How can you stand to object when you have been bought over? It's not everybody that is bought over anyway. So what the populace have to do, those who stand on their worth, is to keep raising objections, raising peaceful protests, using all avenues of the media, and so on and so forth, the organizations, the NGOs, to press, to insist. It is these collective fights that help. In fact, things has even a bit improved now, because of the activities of the non-governmental agencies, all right, the press have been so useful and helpful in this country.
They serve them.
Yes.
society organizations
Yes.
too.
So all these put together need to increase the tempo. That's the best, because one thing politicians is that they hate being exposed. Hate being exposed. They love doing things like secret societies. They hate being exposed. But the more they're exposed, the better the society gets. That's actually what needs to be done. Those who are sitting to vote buying should bury their heads in shame, because they should know that whatever they think they are gaining, they are destroying the society worse than anything. What is 10,000? Even if somebody give you ₦1 million, to what extent will he go after casting that ballot? You don't need to take money from somebody to vote for who you want. Vote according to your conscience. That's why people still keep referring to June 12th election in this country. We all lined up and voted. And the worst atrocity were committed by IBB and his military junta.
But IBB in his book said it was Abacha that did it.
That's around nonsense. If it was Abacha that forget about all those.
Well, that's bygone. That's by the way. Are you thinking we're talking about? Though you've said it, that as far as elections in Nigeria is concerned, the interference of the judiciary. Not interference per se, but then cases must go to court. Now, there is a lot of speculations in the air concerning 2027. What are you thinking about 2027? Because a lot of people are saying the judiciary is no longer the hope of the last hope of the common man. Like you have already said, as a legal practitioner, you've already said there are things that needs to be corrected.
Yes.
And there should be a proper separation between the legislature and the executive. Now, what are you thinking about 2027?
The 2027 election, I will be frank with you, I'm not expecting a departure from what happened in 2023. We need a healthy and sound INEC. We don't have it now. And that same INEC will spearhead 2027. I'm not expecting any departure, personally. It's not pessimism at all. We're talking of facts. We're not expecting any departure. We don't have an INEC that will give us credible election in 2027.
But you remember, INEC made a statement when people, a lot of Nigerians, I've heard from a lot of Nigerians of the fact that they don't believe in INEC. INEC said something after the Edo off-cycle election that they've learned their lessons. And of course, there are some monies being expected to do certain things. Where is really the problem? Because most of the times we have glitches, and majority of it is electronic, which can happen anytime because it's technical. So INEC haven't said that they've learned their lesson. Don't you think Nigerians need to believe in INEC some more?
Saying they learned their lessons, they made that comment after Anambra election, they made it after Ondo election, they made it after Osun, and then, after Edo. How many lessons do you learn? One beating, twice shy. How many lessons do you learn? All right? And all those kind. Look, even that June 12th election of 1993, military regime, but we had Professor Humphrey Nwosu, who was in charge of INEC. Under the jackboot and threats of force of the military, a man stood by principle. That is what we need. When you have such a man, there's nothing like glitches. Absolutely nothing like glitches. Glitches is a wicked satanic language of a cheat, a dupe, an arm robber. To use such insulting language that will haunt him for life. When you have an honest umpire ahead of an organization like INEC, there's nothing like glitches. Humphrey Nwosu did not allow any glitches whatsoever. All right? Senator Zeribe was used by ABN, all those manipulations, but Humphrey Nwosu stood against it. until Habibi decided to do whatever rubbish he wanted to do. But he stood his ground. That's the kind of human being we need. Not a person who has sold his soul to Satan and to stupid, senseless money. So there's something like glitches. There's nothing like that. In the home, if you have an organized father, things go well. You have an organized mother, who is, who are the DGs of the home, Director General, they do things properly. There will be no issue of maltreating the house helps under her watch, and so on and so forth. There will be nothing because they don't create the room for it. So there's nothing like glitches. It wasn't there till 5th February 2023. There was not like glitches. It will not be there in 2027. There's nothing like glitches. We need a fair-minded, posterity-conscious umpire ahead of INEC. Then all this nonsense.
All right. I think we'll be rounding up right now because of our time. This is going to be the last question that I'm going to be asking you right now. On a final note now, we're talking about judiciary. What role do you think the NBC can play, all right, in sensitizing the judicial system?
I don't know, the NBA.
NBA, I beg your pardon, not NBC. NBC is National Broadcasting Corporation. I'm talking about Nigerian Bar Association. That's NBA.
Nigerian Bar Association have been trying, but Nigerian Bar Association is to the judges what the press is to the society. NBA creates awareness, creates awareness, urges for things to be done. But the judge is the person who is looking at the facts and figures brought before him or her. NBA cannot discipline a judge. It's the Nigerian Judicial Council, NJC, that disciplines judges. Okay? So, but NBA creates the awareness and can do more. The NBA have been harping on this thing, have been raising issues and so on and so forth. But the person or the persons that the onus is on to dispense are the ones that the attention, they need to really wake up to their responsibility. There are judges who are doing well, and people know. We need, for instance, when Igini was was he a resident commissioner of INEC or national something like that? Is that resident? Yes, in Akwa Ibom, an officer of INEC. All right, you see the kind of things he did. A man who has conscience. We need that across board among the bench. Okay, so we create the awareness. We do everything we need to do, but the buck stops at the table of those who sit to look at these things. Okay. But one thing is that posterity is uncompromisable.
All right.
Yes.
One very important thing is the fact that there is always tomorrow. Whatever we do, we should make sure governance is very important, and we are always meant to serve. All right. Thank you for coming on the program today. This is how far time will allow us, Barrister.
A pleasure being here.
Well, viewers out there, this is going to be the size of Global Morning, the second discussion. And of course, after this break, we'll return and we'll bring Global Morning to a close. Do stay with us. not something that you can finish talking about in a day, because in a democratic setting, so many things play out. A lot of people are satisfied and a lot of people are dissatisfied with so many happenings, especially with the electoral umpire. And apart from that, the politicians who have actually made politics their career are making things excessively difficult, the process to say, well, that's it, the judiciary, their intervention, he said, whether you like it or not, until tomorrow, cases will still be going to court in as much as human beings are involved in politics.
Like I've mentioned, I've mentioned on the program that we've not gotten to that part yet when everyone will say, okay, fine, I didn't win the election. All right, congratulations. I won't go to court concerning an election that has happened. It's just few that have that mindset. We saw it that it played out during the time of our former president Goodluck Jonathan, that paved way for President Muhammadu Buhari. But some other procedures will definitely come up again when it comes to local government, when it comes to governorship. It depends. A lot of these issues will still press on, just like what our guests mentioned. And with that, we have to wrap up the program on Global Morning. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program with us today. And don't forget, it's the Tag Team Monday crew. I am Jubai Manson, and my co-host that wears amazing glasses,
Ramsey Enoch.
And we say,
have a beautiful day ahead of you.
Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. If you don't think we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.